In the dark shadow of the Cold War, behind locked doors and classified files, one of the most disturbing experiments ever committed by a government was taking place. This wasn't a movie, it wasn't a conspiracy theory, this was real. The CIA dubbed it MK-Ultra and used it to perform atrocities, all in the name of public security. Mind control, hallucinations, torture, disguised all as science. This is a story that they never wanted you to hear. A story about the secrets going on right beneath the surface. This is the story of World War II had just ended, one of the most brutal, disturbing wars of all time. The world was damaged, and the US government decided it wants to enter a new war. Not one fought with bullets, but with secrets, fear, and shadows. In the 1950s, the US were convinced that other countries, like the Soviet Union, were working on mind control techniques, ways to extract secrets, manipulate behaviour, and even create human weapons. The CIA feared that America was falling behind, so in utter and absolute secrecy, Project MK-Ultra was born. Before this, the CIA had done some experiments into mind control and the brain, like Project Artichoke, a program in 1951 into the development and control of the human mind. Other countries, in particular World War II Germany, had also been actively working in this subject, through inhumane experiments on unwilling test subjects. It was truly horrifying work, literally despicable. Officially sanctioned in 1953 by the then CIA director Allen Dulles, MK-Ultra was a sprawling, decentralized program with one goal: to control and contort the human mind. Oh, and you know the mind control program undertaken by Germany? Well, the US, under the guise of Operation Paperclip, brought nearly 1,600 Nazi scientists over to help experiment, test, and torture. It's just honestly horrendous how unethical both these governments were, but that's just how trusting people were back then. No one could ever really fathom the idea that maybe the government didn't have their best intentions in mind. What followed was over 2 decades of experiments designed to push morality, legality, and the human psyche itself. Now, MK-Ultra wasn't one singular program. It was over 150 different sub-projects, each with a particular aim and technique. For example, some focused on mind control in particular, while others tried to shed light on the complexities of the human mind. Within these projects, methods were devised to break a human mentally and emotionally. One of the most famous of these was the extensive use of LSD, the hallucinogenic drug. Researchers wanted to use it to break the human psyche, to literally tear it down. Many subjects were dosed without consent. Some were prisoners, some were patients, and some were regular people, completely unaware of their involvement in an experiment. One infamous case was that of the Allen Memorial Institute. This involved Dr. Ewan Cameron, a respected psychiatrist in Montreal, Canada. The institute in question invited patients suffering from problems like anxiety and depression. Yet, underneath the surface, dark intentions were brooding. People were subjected to psychic driving, in which they were given massive doses of LSD. Alongside this, they used sensory deprivation to fully break people, cutting them off from the world. And if that wasn't bad enough, they repeated audio messages over and over again to destroy any semblance of the person's own self. Just imagine that, a repeated phrase over and over again, consistently and constantly playing. They were breaking people down to find a way of building them back in their own vision. Dr. Ewan Cameron, the director, was truly sick, as shown by the experimentations. Some patients lost basic motor skills, or their memories completely. Subjects involved in this experiment were never truly the same again. And if that isn't truly terrible by itself, they weren't just experimenting on unwilling, working adults. No. They also focused their aim on children. Literal children. They targeted those in orphanages or in juvenile detention, kids unable of easily telling a trusted adult. There are credible reports of testing done on children involving LSD, which is just sickening. The idea that the US government sanctioned the use of psychedelic drugs on children is one of the darkest aspects of MKUltra. And what makes it worse just the same as all the other cases, is that we don't truly know the full extent of the crimes. Perhaps other methods were used, which we can just never truly know about. The crimes committed by the CIA during this time can't be understated. Preying on those with mental health problems and children is utterly horrific, something which should just never be done. During this time period, MKUltra had some infamous subjects being involved in their projects, many who would develop into traumatized, changed individuals. Ted Kaczynski, otherwise known by the infamous name of the Unabomber, who would go on to become a huge domestic terrorist, ruining lives of his own, was potentially involved in MKUltra while participating at Harvard University. He was broken by the LSD given, and that damaged brain is one example of reasoning by people as to why he became the evil figure in the future. There were so many other experiments and projects done, besides the ones said here. With the amount of horrific actions done against unwilling civilians, it was only a matter of time before it all came crashing down. For over 2 decades, MKUltra was one of the CIA's most closely guarded secrets, but in the mid-1970s, cracks were beginning to show. Despite many of the records being destroyed, in 1974, the New York Times published an article alleging illegal mind control experiments taking place under CIA's watch. One case stood out in particular, the case of Frank Olson. Olson was a CIA employee who died in 1953 after falling out of a hotel window. Many labelled it as a suicide, but soon documents surfaced revealing Frank Olson had been dosed with LSD only a few days before he died by his own colleagues. Frank Olson was most likely pushed out of that window. His family have been fighting for the truth for decades, revealing a layer to the CIA many never expected. The realization of information soon led to the formation of the Church Committee in 1975, which was a Senate investigation into what really happened. As they dug deeper, they uncovered a massive web of unethical experimentation and psychological torture. In 1977, a Freedom of Information Act caused over 20,000 documents to be released, further implying the level and amount of abuse caused by the CIA. While the full scope of MKUltra may never be revealed, the exposure led to an increased oversight of the intelligence community, acting as a chilling warning of unchecked power. MKUltra didn't just leave behind shattered lives. It left a permanent stain on the American intelligence web. It proved that, even under a democratic government, experimentation, torture, all on its own civilians, could happen, all under the guise of national security. For decades, victims were ignored, hidden behind layers of black ink and shredders. The new revelations about what truly happened sparked new laws to help the affected and protect those in the future. Yet the techniques developed didn't disappear. Sensory deprivation, chemically induced compliance, and manipulation are still used. In particular, they surfaced in post-9/11 interrogation programs and Cold War psyops, among much, much more. To this day, MKUltra still fuels conspiracies because of how unknown it all still is. And that's maybe the most chilling part. The idea when secrecy meets power, the line between science and abuse blurs, and there's nobody there to stop it. So that was MKUltra. It wasn't a rogue experiment, it was a fully authorised breach of trust, preying on the weak and those incapable of getting help. This was my first ever history video on my channel, so if you liked it, please like and subscribe. I would love to make more of these, so any support would help show me if you want to see more of this. In truth, we may never know how far MKUltra went. Most of the files are gone. Lots of the victims are too afraid to speak out. What we know is that it happened, and if it happened once, how can we be sure it won't happen again? That's the scary thing. It's not about what we know, it's about what we never will.